What's up, guys? It's Philip with Ashwood, and I'm going to talk to you today about acorns, specifically white oak versus red oak. White oaks are typically a little more preferred than red oaks. I'm going to kind of tell you why. This year right now in Georgia anyways, it has been pretty tough. We're kind of in that October lull is what we call it, I guess, or some deer hunters call it. And it just seems like the deer are not moving. If they are, they're moving at night. You know, people have corn out, they're not hitting corn. And it is just, when you walk through the woods, there is just buckets and buckets of acorns on the ground. So it's just tough. There's a lot of food out there. The biggest reason is this is a bumper crop year. So bumper crop years are tough because there's so much food everywhere. They're not just honing in on one or two trees. And the issue is they're very much bed to feed and feed to bed, and there's so many acorns right now is bed to feed and feed to bed is not a very far trek. But what I'm here to talk to you about today, though, is why one acorn is more preferred over than the other. Specifically, white oak acorns over, I just dropped it, a red oak acorn. They come in all different shapes and sizes. This one particularly here is a white oak. It looks different than a post oak, which is also in the white oak family. A shoe-marked oak is a red oak. It looks different than a southern red oak. You name it, acorns, they have their quirks and they're all different. What makes one acorn more desirable than the other? Truthfully, I don't really think anybody knows, but you can only think to know. But as far as what is in an acorn nutritionally, from my understanding, red oaks have a higher protein and fat content, and white oaks have a higher carbohydrate and sugar content. So I guess they're a little sweeter. I do know that red oak acorns have a lot more tannins, which creates tannic acid, which creates bitterness. So I don't like bitter things either, and I guess deer don't either. Something that I find really fascinating and really cool about red oaks versus white oaks is white oaks are a lot more sensitive to crop production. Granted, once they're mature enough, they will produce every year once they are pollinated. The problem is if we have one of those false springs that brings in warmer temperatures before it is springtime, what'll happen is there'll be a late frost, and all of those buds that were created that are now becoming acorns just got froze off. So if your area, it can be a whole county, it can be a whole area. If your area got a late frost, you probably won't see that mass acorn production out of your white oaks. Your red oaks, on the other hand, typically always produce. The reason that they do is because they typically, most of them, I would say the majority, have two crops. They have what's dumping right now is last year's pollination, and what will dump next year is this year's pollination. In my opinion, the better years typically have everything to do with the amount of food on the ground. If you have a white oak or a group of white oaks that is dumping acorns, and you look on the ground and you can't not step on an acorn, but then 2 properties down or 3 counties over or 2 weeks away from here isn't dropping anything, you got all the food on the ground that you want to have, and you got all the deer. Those years are really good years to hunt. Right now is tough, and a lot of people are singing that song. So this year with that bumper crop year, everything's producing and dropping acorns. So that's just kind of where we're at. But anyways, good luck this season. Kill you a biggin. Things are starting to change from what I can see. But anyways, good luck.